And welcome back to this week's episode to Two Coaches, One Grizz. Today we're going to dive deep into some NBA playoffs. We had some unexpected wins in this the second round of the NBA playoffs. Most notably, the Mavericks pulling up that upset. They're going to be facing the Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. I don't think anybody predicted that, mid-season, let alone, right now what we're looking at. So Luka going nuts. But we're going to start with the Grizz's favorite team of all time, the Miami Heat.
Well, one of my favorite teams, along my favorite basketball team, pro sport, absolutely. Bro, just the usual, man. Disrespect for my Heat, no love. Everybody forgetting that we're the number one seed in the East. Everybody talking up the Nets. I remember even the playoffs started. They played in the play-in, right?
Yes, sir.
And they were a favorite to win the East. I mean, I think that's kind of disrespectful. But however, we took care of our first round opponent. We took care of the Sixers. And after Boston and Milwaukee had I would say, fun series, every team winning a game until the last one when Boston won the game 7, and we lost our MVP, we lost our defending champion Milwaukee Bucks. And now it's Celtics Heat, where I wanted it the whole time.
Yeah, Heat win game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals, 118-107 versus the Celtics. The Celtics down Smart and Horford, and were throwing some haymakers at the beginning of the game. The Heat were able to kind of withstand that and rise above in the second half.
We were down 13 in the second quarter, down 8 in the first half, and already they were putting the dirt over us. Well,
what happens is, Again, as usual, I like to come in with a gambling aspect of things. Every team that plays a game 7, or not every team, but 60% of them that go a 7-game series usually lose game 1 against a team that has not gone 7 games. So watching the game last night, I really felt that the second half would be when Boston will start showing signs of tiredness, not being able to finish, not being able to play the defense they were playing in the first half. Also being down those 2 guys also was going to hurt them because then they have to lean on the bench more. Yep. So again, it depletes the starters. It puts more pressure on Tatum. And the second half, Miami just took over the game. And the third quarter was amazing.
And definitely that's what I expected coming out in the second half. I knew we would make that kind of run, but let me tell you, they only scored 2 points in the first 7 minutes of the quarter. They hit their first basket, I think, with like 5 minutes. Jason Tatum, after having a great first half, comes out with 6 turnovers in the quarter. And that is where I don't, give the excuse of, coming out tired. Homie's young. He's their best player, and best player on the team is not supposed to have 6 turnovers in a quarter. So it was the perfect storm. And then we held it in the fourth. And yeah, if Marcus Smart and Horford, more Marcus Smart, because we're talking about Defensive Player of the Year. And I want that guy
supposedly.
In there. Well, yeah, supposedly, because we have a guy that wasn't even nominated on the 3 players. And that man has something to grind. And I want Marcus Smart in the game so he can see that personally. But having said that, there's no excuses. You have players in and out. You play your 7 games. You play all that. They're expected to win. And they choked it in the second half, third quarter specifically.
And again, and that's why, even though you say that, they are grueling games. And he played out of his mind in that series. He was averaging 37 points a game. Taysom, he was all over the place with ball. I mean, he was matching Tatum.
Yeah.
Tatum was
Taysom Hill plays for the Saints.
He dropped 46 in game 6 on the road.
Tatum was matching
amazing
the Greek Freak basket for basket.
Yeah.
And they both had a couple 40-point games, which is ridiculous.
I'm telling you, I'm putting Tatum definitely in the top 10 in the NBA. He is going to be probably in the top 5 MVP worthy in the next few years for sure. But having said that,
but like I say, I do have to give.
For you, I understand. You have your deep dive all in that right there with that. But with that little 60% after. I love that because that's the gambling aspect.
There has to be.
But the human aspect, you choked.
No, but you can't say that.
I can. Did it.
It's not fair.
Print it.
It's not fair. It's not fair.
Sorry, we're not here to.
It's not fair.
We're not here to be fair.
It's not fair to say that.
We're here to be honest, and I'm honest. Boston choked.
Boston choked.
That's
okay.
all good.
Got it.
And because they talk a lot, so I need them. If for some way this can make it up to Boston, you guys out there, we're always telling you, send our link to your friends, this and that. Anybody who hears this, please send this to anybody you know in Boston. Let this spread, please.
We need to make sure that we contact El Presidente and let him know, because he was talking mad crap last night when Boston was.
I would love Stu Presidente
they were the best team. That they were the better team.
I love the pizza reviews, but
he was talking mad.
Yeah, Boston team ain't going nowhere.
So,
garbage.
unfortunately, I think the Celtics are victim of fatigue at this point. That was a grueling 7-game series against the Milwaukee Bucks, and I saw a stat earlier today, and I can't find it for the life of me, but Giannis scored over 270 points in the game, was out of his mind, but it was very inefficient. He had to take over 180 shots. That's the Chris Middleton effect, right? He wasn't in.
Yes.
It's a different series
Yes.
if they have him.
Well, we think so, because it spreads out the floor more, and it allows Giannis to play freer.
You saw just he was exhausted. He was drained.
I also do think that playing the Heat is exhausting within itself.
Of course.
Because
they're deep, man. Their bench is
deep. The bench is the key for them.
But we're mirror images. We're a very defensive
Correct.
group. They're a very defensive group.
Yes.
They're physical. And like I said, they played 7 games. We played 6, right? Did we not play 6?
Yes, we did.
We played 6. They played 7. How many games did they play in their first series? Oh, they played 4. They swept them. They had a nice little rest. I don't care. You choked in the third quarter. Tatum, 6 turnovers. That's huge. You don't do that if you're a championship team. They're championship teams like the Phoenix Suns wanted to be. How did they lose their last game at home, being down by 46 at one point?
The Chris Paul effect.
Are you kidding me?
It's a Chris Paul effect.
Of course it is. Chris Paul turned 37. And every game after 37 was terrible for 5 games. It's just he turned 37 and it was over. He's done.
I mean, listen, they were the best team in the NBA this year.
By 8 games over anybody else.
And they just laid an absolute egg. It's one thing to lose a close one. That was Game 7, correct?
There's only been one
Game 7.
team that has not made it to the conference
now
finals
granted,
with the best record in the NBA like that. It was the Warriors. It was the Mavericks of 07, I believe.
They lost to the
Warriors in the first round. Yeah. So that's only happened twice.
One of their best players was also out.
Who?
Devin Booker.
Who? No. Booker
played the last game?
No. Booker. Yeah, he was out because he was on the court and nobody could find him. No. Devin, you're thinking about the New Orleans series where he was out a couple games.
So he was in the whole series?
No, they were healthy.
I thought they were out.
They were 2-0.
I apologize.
They were up 2-0, talking mad smack. Trust me, I've been watching the last couple of days. All the smack they talked, the Mavericks didn't take kindly to that. And then in Game 5, when they smacked up the Mavericks, and there was a video showing Luka,
everybody wants to be hard when they're up.
Everybody's hard when they're up. And not for nothing, Luka's a bad mofo.
Listen, he's that dude.
He is that guy.
Let me tell you, he got compared this morning with on two pros, one Joe, and a cup of Joe. He was compared this morning to Larry Bird.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yes,
and that was
I mean,
for anybody to be compared to Larry Buckets.
Yeah.
I mean, Bird was again not the most gracious body in America, but that guy could ball.
Dare I say that he may end up being better than Larry Bird because he's got.
He may be better than Larry Bird.
He's more fluid.
He might be better than Larry Bird.
We'll see how it goes down.
He might be better than Dirk Nowitzki, which is said to be the best European player ever.
Listen, he's that dude, man.
But he's only 23.
If that.
23.
Homeboy's been playing professionally since he was 14.
He said he's been doing this stuff since he was 12
and
years old.
And the thing that people don't like about him is that the guy, he makes his shot and he's just smiling. Yeah. And that's what pisses people off.
No, he likes to talk smack. He likes to talk smack.
But he's talking smack with his...
Yeah, with a smile.
Now, while we're on kind of like circling this topic, what's up with the Pat Bev slander on Chris Paul?
That's just a guy that's bitter, man. That's simple. A man that has been bitter his whole career because a guy like Chris Paul... in his, getting fed since day one. He's, the golden boy. He gets all the stats. You're talking about a guy, Pat Beverly, he was drafted by us and didn't play in the professionals for like 3 years. He had to go play in different leagues outside the country. You can see the disrespect.
We're just seeing the manifestation of the chip on
It's his moment.
his shoulder.
It's his moment to talk crap.
And the guys always talk crap, but I was noticing.
I just don't.
I thought at some point they were teammates, but the thing was that the 4 years.
Weren't they on the?
No. 4 years for the Clippers that Paul was there. The same 4 years was the first 4 years that Pat was on the Rockets, and then Pat went the year after. 4 years with the Clippers, and then he went to the Rockets.
Swap there. Here's my thing. How do you slander a guy that's top 5 in steals, top 5 in assists, and is a 5-time first team All Pro or 10 something like that, 10-time first team All Defense? Like,
remember his argument is the guy's been out for 17 years. He's played that much. You're bound to get the stats. Well, that's fine. Here's the thing. He's just a bitter man. Because he himself wants to be Chris Paul. It's so obvious to me. And I love Pat Bev.
And sadly, Chris Paul has not been able to win the big one.
That's the
He's
thing.
been so close. He's been right there. And always something happens.
He has to live with the moniker that he's the biggest choker.
He's gotten hurt.
Well, I didn't think he, in the finals last year, I don't think he choked. Like, because they came out.
Usually it's injuries. He's usually gotten injured.
But
right during the crucial series.
His team has been up 2-0. They were up 2-0 last year. They up 2-0 this year. They've been up 3-1 and lost. He's lost 5 times. Right. The next closest is a player with 3, who's Blake Griffin, who was on those teams with him. So it's the thing that any team that's led by Chris Paul, and Chris Paul's your number one, is not going to win a title.
But I think Chris Paul understands that he can't be that dude to lead, and that's why he's been grooming Devin Booker.
Right, but what happens
they're not
is
ready yet.
What happens
take that next step, apparently,
is that
because Booker should have had a 30-point
but we
game.
can't say that.
I was looking at some stats now. I mean, he disappeared 2 games ago.
Right,
but I'm saying he talked about Game 7. I'm going to come in.
We can't say that because they went to the finals last year, and if it wasn't for Giannis going ape shit, sorry,
the first time in his career he passed the second round. First time, and he was with a team that has pieces that make it a juggernaut. But what Pat Beverly was saying is nobody goes to sleep worried about Chris Paul. Like, I'm scared.
Now they don't because at 37,
he said he's been like that his whole career with him.
Yeah, I don't know.
And he goes to sleep worried about a guy like Steph Curry in bed early.
He is just jumping on a bandwagon.
He's just hating on him.
Exactly. He's hating on him, and then you can't argue with him because sadly, Chris just haven't been able to get
Barnes was the only guy that came out and said that, I think that's super disrespectful. Right. And I'm sure Barnes, if you said that to him, he'd smack him up. But Barnes said it. He goes, Pat, you're like me, man. We're role players. We have distinct accolades. He's a defensive bulldog. I mean, he was talking to Stephen A. and he's like, I'm the best in the world at defense. And Stephen A. was kind of laughing, but he's like, nah, you guys have me with the percentage. I have this certain amount. So basically, I'm Giannis, but I'm 6 feet. So,
and you know what's frustrating? Like, he's also talking about a guy who's regarded as one of the best defensive point guards. He
said he can't play a lick of defense,
which is ridiculous. I mean, I have to look up the stat. I think he's been 10 times all defensive teams.
So when you talk defense and defensive players,
I don't think
I'm always gonna go back to Rodman because that was his job.
Right, but I'm saying I don't think
25 rebounds, 2 points, and
but that's not the point. Chris Paul is an okay defender. I don't think he's ever been known as a phenomenal defender. I think he can defend, and if he can't, now it's because he's older. Once again, I think this is just a guy that's bitter. I like his heart. I like the fact that he believes in himself. He's the kind of guy that if he's on your team, you'll love him. If he's not on your team, it annoys the hell out of you.
He's made the NBA all defensive first team 7 times in his career.
Once again, we're not disagreeing.
Right. He's a good defender, but again, he's talking crap like he's a baller.
No, I'm talking about Chris Paul.
Right.
Okay.
But I don't consider Chris Paul a lockdown defender. Over the years, making those all defensive teams that's great. I look at the guy who wins the defensive player of the year. You listen to other people who play against the guy.
I mean, 6-time NBA steals leader, that's defense.
I know. He's
again the slide on him.
He's the kind of guy he's gonna annoy you too. I'm just saying he's not Kawhi Leonard defense is what I'm saying. He's not Pat Beverly defense. Pat Beverly's a better defender. That's not my point. He's just a bitter guy saying that he's not. Chris Paul's a Hall of Famer every day of the week, every day. first ballot. He's just going to be remembered for your fame. Anybody that you could think of that was a great regular season player in any sport, but when it comes to the playoffs, they just, for some reason, forget.
Jim Kelly will always be remembered.
Ernie Banks.
For losing 4 Super Bowls.
Right.
That's it. Ernie Banks.
Ernie
No
Banks.
matter how
The
great.
frustration of the Cubs.
Never made it to the postseason.
So again, that's
He's
sadly,
going to be Charles Barkley, but
Right.
Charles Barkley never was considered like a choke guy. He just had the worst luck to go up against the
He was born in the wrong
Michael
decade.
Jordan and the Magic Johnsons. But even then, like, what happens? Shaq makes fun of him. Other people, you don't got titles. You're not going to, bro. It's a team sport. I never considered. I'm just saying he's a choker because he is the point guard. So he's the most. I think the point guard probably gets the most blame out of any player, or if you're obviously LeBron James, But I think basically he's just, that's his knack. But I still think he's top 5 point guard of all time.
Right. No, and I think we were.
It's just I think it was once again great. I was watching live on Get Up, and Greeny was just having a blast, put his feet up because he knew this is just good for ratings. This is what we want. We want turmoil.
ESPN let Pat Beverly have carte blanche with all of their daily menu of shows. It was ridiculous. Now, is he articulate? Yeah, but come on, man. We're in 2 different echelons here with the player that you're trying to.
So back to the things that matter. Like I think going to the team that beat Chris Paul, the Mavericks. I mean, yes, the Mavericks against the Warriors. I see the Warriors winning this in 5.
Gentleman's sweep?
Gentleman's sweep. Because it's not. I think Luka did everything he could against a team like Phoenix, but the Warriors were the team to beat. I think I've been saying that all this time.
It's interesting because a lot of people were taking the Mavericks to win Game 1.
I don't think so. And it could be the same thing. You could say the rest, all this. See, the Warriors, they did what they needed to do. Get Klay Thompson healthy.
Get them right.
Get him right. You have people now, everybody's been saying that Luka, has been talked about the last few days, is the best player right now in all the playoffs. Guy named Steph Curry is going to show you why that's wrong. And I think
we saw the best player in the playoffs and he got knocked out because he was a one-man show by the Mavericks.
What, Giannis?
Yeah.
What?
I think it's right now.
No, you're talking about the Boston.
Right now, today, I think it's Giannis 1 and Luka 2 best players in the world right now.
I could flip-flop that. But in the world right now...
Wouldn't argue,
I mean, you got the guy who's won back-to-back from Denver, Jokic, right?
Yeah, but is he going to be put in that same category as those two dudes? He has an out. Yeah, he has
back-to-back MVPs.
He has an immense impact on the game.
Once again,
but in a different way. But
here you weren't you talking about how this team was going to go crazy against the Warriors because of Jamal Murray coming back?
Remember he came back, yes,
correct. But I'm saying so. Once again, you need help.
Oh, 100%. No, I agree with you.
And Luka, it doesn't seem like he has help. The guys that he has his team, they're just not as known. And they picked, I think, the perfect team. The Suns, they were about to break apart right there. The mindset of Aiden, that guy, he's lost. Where was he in Game 7? That guy wants max money.
Right?
Yeah. He wants max money. Good luck.
Now that's a piece that they may be able to parlay into some, to get them to that next level.
People are still falling in love with the big man, which is fine. But they're not. The Joel Embiids, bro, don't happen. That guy's a monster. That guy, Aiden, wants to be, a monster. You got to have, I think he had like 3 rebounds in Game 7. How are you a 7-footer and get 3 rebounds? I noticed these things.
Remember, his position gets taken out of the position.
Correct. But
so they struggle with that.
Nah, he still needs to find a way to get rebounds.
There ain't nothing wrong with a big man, as long as it's a guy like Giannis or Embiid.
No, I'm talking about true center.
A true center.
There's no more. It's only just.
It's
Joel Embiid. This guy from Denver is considered a true center. I still think he's a hybrid power forward. I mean, that's just how the game is. I just think because who's going to be the number 1 pick this year? Yeah, now that we transition over to this draft lottery, it just happened.
Oh, it's the big man from Duke, right? Or was it?
No, Gonzaga. The skinny guy from Gonzaga. What's
Timmy? I don't know if Timmy's going to be the guy. I don't know if Timmy's going to be the one.
They've been saying that. They've been
You
saying.
been saying Timmy's gonna be the number one guy?
They've been saying he's it
bro.
could be the guy from Duke too.
Blanking on his
But
name.
Timmy,
But what
Timmy
I'm
has
saying is,
outside shot. Timmy
he does.
right?
But I'm
Timmy,
saying that guy's, like that's the protege center now. It's a big guy that takes the outside shot.
If you take a look at Adebayo as a big guy, he has a nice 12 to 14 foot jumper, and he hits it, and he's got a little bit of that game as well, and that allows him to play more and to get out and pull
This is
people
the
out.
kid
And
from Duke, right?
No, I'm talking about Adebayo. I'm talking about Bam.
Oh,
I'm
you're
talking about Bam.
Paulo
I'm talking about
Blanchero
You know,
Well, Bam,
Blanchero's
unfortunately,
the kid from Duke.
from Duke.
Yes,
And he's that type of, big, long.
but he's not. He's a 4. He's a power forward.
But if you look at Bam's a 4. In traditional basketball, 15 years ago, Bam's a 4.
6'11", 6'10".
No, he's 6'9", coach. He's 6'8",
Bam is 6'9".
Stats and info. Look it up.
I thought he was taller.
He doesn't play like a center though. He should be. His shooting though is so
It works well.
disappointing.
It works
It's the only
well
thing
in the
that
system.
the last series
6'9".
the last series against the Sixers, he was nowhere to be found offensively. Once again, his defense came to show yesterday, and he did give us 10 points. But I need Bam to give me 20. I need more of an offensive game. Luckily we have the good thing about the Heat right now. We have some great depth, and people hate it.
D2, D3 guys
People hate
on
it,
that
but
rotation.
if people don't get this straight and don't believe in the Heat culture, we're just gonna keep whooping because this is what we do.
But that works into us.
Yeah,
That works into Jimmy Butler.
Of course.
And because he loves to play with a chip on his shoulder.
Of course.
So the more they get tried, the better.
I love it. I'm just saying that's what we do. We breed the culture.
Well, and that's the thing.
We got people believe
I
it.
don't think it's a secret, and we've talked about it, at certain points here on the show. Like Jimmy Butler and the Heat culture, that was a match made in heaven. It is potentially the best fit, most perfect fit that they could have, you could have ever found in terms of a player and his demeanor and what a organization, wants to do.
Right.
And it's a perfect mixture of young players that don't have an ego and want to be led by that guy. They're all young dogs, and Jimmy's the leader of the pack.
We talked about it, I think, last week when we talked about how he speaks after the games, and he said, Coach Pat is the guy that leads and puts us in. And that's what Coach Pat, and that's the atmosphere that he's created, the culture, the mindset of those guys.
But I also like how we were talking about the chip, and just breaking news. I was just sent this. This is a great quote from Jimmy. You were drafted 3rd because they thought you were the next me. You ever hear, I hope he's the next Jaylen Brown? Yeah, me neither. He told that to Jaylen Brown during the game. I love that. That's my boy. That's chipping.
You know what I appreciate about him too? And again, I'm a casual basketball fan, but looking at him and just as an athlete, when his shot is not on and he's not on offensively, he finds way, he doesn't turn it off. He finds ways to affect the game.
He's a
You
grinder.
can't stop him. If the
He's
game
a
yesterday
grinder.
dictated him to go 40, he's going to go 40.
Because there's so many quote unquote superstars nowadays that their shot's not dropping, and they just check out.
If tomorrow the shot's not working or they're guarding him a different way, he's going to be like, tomorrow I'm going to throw 15 assists at your ass.
Correct.
So he will dictate how his game is played. He's going to do it. And I love that about him. Talk about perfect marriage. It's like Dwayne Wade said, hey, Jimmy, you got to go to the greatest team you ever played for. Made in heaven. Because, Marquette boys have to keep each other on the right. It's always good to give your boy a heads up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I agree.
Always good to give your boy a heads up.
Yes, sir, and have each other's back.
And have each other's back.
I also loved.
Don't ever let your boy hang.
Don't ever let your boy hang. And if they're talking and they're asking questions, you let them know.
You let them know.
You let them know.
I'm so confused right now,
That's okay. But we got you.
You stay in your lane.
We got you.
Because we got your back.
sir. I also loved from Jimmy Butler when they beat the Sixers finally and they close out the series. He's walking away and he was like, They traded me for Otto Porter, right? Is that what he said?
No, Harris.
Oh, Harris. Tobias Harris.
They
kept Harris.
They kept Harris.
For me, basically, they had to make a decision between Harris
They
and
gave
him.
Harris the big money.
I loved it.
Of course. And that's the beauty of it. Remember, even the great ones like Michael Jordan,
They find something.
Even he'd make it up. Whatever it takes. I'm a big believer in whatever it takes to get the job done. It doesn't matter. You don't need to drive a straight line. You could go take that turn over there and get over there. It might take you a little bit extra, but whatever it takes to get to your finish line. And if Jimmy Butler wants to every game find a reason why I was this, I was that, guess what? It's going to help him. That's how he plays.
Yeah, he's just a dog, man. It's
exactly
awesome.
right. Dogs, and that's what we have dogs.
So, looking forward, I don't think it's a secret here that everybody in here is probably going to pick the Heat over the Celtics going into the finals. Clearly, obviously.
And I'm not saying it's easy. This might be 7 games.
Waste of time to even ask.
I believe it's going to be it's going to be at least 6.
I think the
7.
Celtics will win their fair share of games because, they're not. They're here for a reason. But how can I go against my team? I mean, that's a blasphemy.
And then you already stated gentleman's sweep.
Gentleman's sweep for the Warriors. I can't wait for a little Warriors Heat. That would be
how do you think that they match up, sir?
Well, I'm not going to get into any kind of matchups. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not going to set myself up for failure. I'm just
giving you the Grizz. I want the Grizz's perception.
Grizz, I have trust me. I have a matchup for all 4 potential matchups in the NBA Finals. We'll talk about that one. Why are we going to spill it? We got another couple of weeks. That's another show. I don't need to throw that here
because I can hear the excitement.
I'm going to wait the same thing. I want to see how this plays out. We'll go through each game and then we'll figure things out once we get there.
Heard. So let's stay in the NBA. NBA draft lottery was last night at 8:00 before the Miami Heat game. It actually probably worked out well for the Miami Heat. The stadium, the arena was actually packed. You saw seats and stand, which usually doesn't happen until midway through the second quarter normally here in Miami. But
we're late arrivals.
No, they should just make every game at 8:30.
Yeah, I think it would work out better for the fanfare there. But Orlando Magic end up with the first overall pick in the 2022 draft. Coach, you mentioned off air before we started today that the Magic have done a pretty good job of drafting and developing guys in the past few years.
Well, I mean, they picked up Shaq. They later on were able to trade and pick up Penny.
The very next year.
Right. And then after that, later on, they picked up Howard. So they've been blessed with being able to choose good guys with early picks, their top pick. And they've moved forward and won games and been a good team for 3 or 4 years with those
All
picks.
3 of those players took them to a finals.
And, they haven't, again, their misses have been greater than their makes. Mm-hmm. But anytime that they do draft early, they've done very well. So we'll see how this brings and what direction they take here and where they go.
Yeah.
Again, the Knicks once again fall flat.
Moving along.
They've got no luck. They got bad luck. It's the only luck they got.
They are that. I mean, how do you still allow that man to be the owner of that franchise? Put the lottery aside. Obviously,
that's a luck.
It's just bad luck. I mean, if it's between the Jets and the Knicks, those are the 2 teams I hate the most. But I'm sad. I'm so sad. I want the Knicks to be good. It's better for the league.
Oh, it is.
New York is a great place to.
So here's what frustrates me, right? They've been talking for years, right? This has always been the Mecca of basketball is Madison Square Garden. They haven't won a championship since 1972.
No, I mean,
I think 73.
Well, 72, 73. I think that was back to back. Actually,
it is. Honestly, still the Mecca. I went there once. It's an unbelievable place to watch.
But it's the Mecca for the dudes who coming in on the visiting team to drop 50 and 60. That's what it's the Mecca for.
Well, I did go to LeBron's first game as a Heat player, and he dropped a triple-double and won by 20, and everybody was loving me, let me tell you.
But I've never heard fan favorite.
I've never been I was booed all the time, and I kept booing. Every time they booed, he'd score. And I'm telling you, I was a person there. I was known.
That's good stuff. All right, I think that wraps up our segment on the NBA. We're going to be right back with a little bit of NFL talk. And we are back with segment 2. We're going to cover some interesting topics here with the NFL. Deshaun Watson slated to meet with the NFL this week. We'll know more by the end of the week what his potential suspension looks like. I think 6 games. I think that's kind of like the par for the course situation here. You guys seem to have a little bit of a different thought process. Take it away, gentlemen.
Again, and I'm only talking about things that I've heard and I've read, and it's just great timing that one of the pre-trial depositions came out this today from last week, and it's described how one of the masseuses left the session crying, and then Mr. Watson sent her a text apologizing, sorry about you feeling uncomfortable. He wrote, never were the intentions. LMK, let me know if you want to work in the future. My apologies. I wonder what she could have felt uncomfortable about. I wonder if something rubbed the wrong knee, maybe an elbow, a thigh. Maybe he was flipping over and accidentally slapped her hand. I don't know. But again, you're a masseuse.
Here, my response to that is what category of masseuse is this? I mean, if you're going in as a personal masseuse for someone who's making $100 million plus, you know, I mean.
So if I'm a certified masseuse, you're trying to say that I'm going in?
Sir, I did not say that.
To do something like...
All I'm saying is...
Like a fellatio or something of that sort? What are we talking about here? Why? Maybe I'm a professional masseuse. And you've contracted me. Well, not necessarily you, because I think I'd turn you down. But let's say someone would...
I'm not a good masseuse anyway.
Contract me to give them a massage. Why does it have to be a sexual encounter?
Sir, how much was she paid for this?
Sir, I don't know. That I don't know. I don't know what her running rate was for being a masseuse. But again, why does it? This is not Bobby Kraft going to the Asian five magic fingers. This is a professional masseuse in a one-on-one with an athlete, which happens all the time. Some athletes have one, not 22. I'm sorry, one masseuse that works with them, just like their nutritionist, just like their trainer. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
So are you kind of alluding to the fact that there may be more of these texts or apologies or, you know, more of this to come as we get closer to figuring out where he's you know, what his punishment's going to be?
If more of these texts come out, if more situations come out where he acknowledges accidentally doing something inappropriate, yes, I think it's going to be larger. I think it's going to be worse than we all could anticipate. And again, if we use baseball as an example, and the Los Angeles Dodger pitcher being suspended for a year, we have to think that way and analyze it like that.
I mean, my personal view is 10 games. I said that off air. I'll stick to that. With just one text coming out saying this is bad. And there's another 21 possible apologies that could be read. Remember, this is what we're reading as the public. The NFL has their hands, I'm sure, on all of them.
Oh, I mean, I would bet that they interviewed all 22.
All 22 women have been talked to by someone at the NFL. Once again, we have to understand the league does not look good at all with him just playing any games. I think there's people that think he should be expelled from the league. There's people that a couple years he should be suspended. Remember, we have just given a guy $250 million, right?
Yeah, $260 million, I believe.
$250 million.
Or 230.
$230 million guaranteed.
Guaranteed. And he did this. I mean,
right, and this is on the This is on the resume.
This is on the resume.
This is on the resume.
I've never heard of anybody with a resume with that on him getting...
Mr. Grizz, you have 22 accusations. You know what? We're going to give you $230 million guaranteed. Don't worry about it. I think that's a typo. That's a typo.
So if he had no none of these problems, this guy should be Patrick Mahomes money then. The bottom line is we got to set an example for the league here. And I think 10 is light, but 10 should be right. Because at the end of the day...
I like that. It's kind of catchy.
Let me tell you, sometimes...
It's a little catchy. I like that.
There's nuggets, man.
I like it.
Sometimes I throw out little nuggets.
Seems a little light,
listen.
but it's right.
But
good stuff.
you got to understand that we have to set some type of precedent. If not, everybody's going to find themselves a few masseuses. And hey, there's a lot of accidents
at the end of the day, there is a personal conduct policy.
Right. It is a private organization at the end of the day.
There is a conduct policy that you have to behave a certain way. When you have 22 accusations, I don't think you're behaving the right way.
So to me, and again, I'm not discrediting or I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. All points are valid and hold a significant amount of weight. However, I do think that there is a possibility, maybe not a big one, but there is a distinct possibility there where there's two giant loopholes that they may be able to kind of use to circumvent this whole situation. One, he already had a de facto kind of suspension by the Texans where he was off the field for an entire year.
I don't agree with that.
And two, there were no criminal charges that were being...
He chose not to play. Now, with that being said...
No, they
chose not to play.
Nah, they held him out.
No, he chose not to play. He said it before the season. He wasn't going to play.
Not going to play.
Because he was in the building. For the trade. He was in the building working out.
He chose not to play. He said he wasn't playing. He was not happy with the contract. Wasn't happy with the team. Wasn't happy with everything that's going on. So you're on the OJ bandwagon.
No, I'm not on the OJ bandwagon.
If it doesn't fit, you
guys are saying that it was his decision. No, it was not his decision.
No, hold on.
It was his decision.
They barred him. The organization barred him from team activities.
Again, I'm not.
Yeah, after he didn't want to play
that. I'm not even going to touch that.
If he wanted to play from day one, the Texans would have had that guy playing. Get out of here.
I'm going to move on to the situation where you say the whole loophole.
Again, I'm not saying that it's going to end up happening there, but I do see a possibility, the potential that they are able to use that avenue to minimize a 3 or 4 game suspension. Or maybe.
But he, again, first of all, I think that he was on the do not play list.
He's on the exempt, right.
All right. But again, he put himself there by telling the team he was not going to play. He was in a trade me or I sit mode. That's the issue. He wanted to get out, and they did not want to let him out. They needed him. They wanted him.
Oh, he would have played. If he wanted to play, he was playing. And then after all that, if you want to trade me, and he's not going to play, well, guess what? We can't. All right, we're gonna sit you out because what do we do if you get hurt?
And
we can't trade you.
And then the crap hit the fan about the allegations,
correct,
and the court stuff. And then at that time, I might give in to your thought process of they didn't want to play him because it would look bad on the franchise. You get me? At that point, once the allegations come out, then I could understand you saying, well, they didn't want to play him because of the allegation. They didn't know what the NFL was going to do. So that is all speculation, and it is a very dangerous water to tread when you think about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, like I said, I don't think it's likely, but stranger things have happened, and I do see a pathway where the guy's playing week 1.
I don't see that. Again, the way Roger Goodell has handled things, and
I'll be shocked.
The way we are as a society today, that's not happening. Because, I mean, if you think we've had women marching with body parts and signs before, this is going to be monumental. This will be monumental.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I get and I see it like it's not.
I appreciate having this. Listen, I appreciate.
But it is true. Like, it's bad for the shield, right? Like we always talk about. At the end of the day, it's bad for the shield. But at the end of the day, there's dudes that have literally killed people and have had shorter suspensions than what he's potentially going to get.
Again, when you compare the time frame, when you compare where we were as a society, as a country, okay, I would I would look at you and say, no, you're right. You have a point. I think you're correct, right? However, where we are right now and what's happened, and all of the
circumstances surrounding the situation.
20, 30 years ago, people were high-fiving this guy for all those masseuses. This is just a different time, man.
Don't forget that Rice was essentially kicked out of the league, even though the girlfriend said, look, no, I know it was a mistake.
He married his girlfriend. She loves him. Everything's great. It doesn't matter, man.
Okay? That was not something that could be a 1 or 2 year deal.
But he was getting suspended regardless. But then the video came out. Remember, seen something?
Correct, and that completely changed the scope.
Oh, imagine if in one of those rooms there's a little video and we see the accidental. Oh, I'm sorry.
The accidental flip, the accidental move.
That'll change everything then.
I just think as it's 22 women, it's a different ballgame.
This is once again, if this was 3 women, you know what I'm saying? Oh man, I'm still not. I just don't get. Even if you're a normal person, 22 different. We just got to find the right pair of hands. I mean, we're doing the deepest of dives to search for the greatest pair of hands to massage me.
Sir, as I said,
and then
most of these guys choose one because they find the right fit, the right pair of hands. Most
athletic people are like, I need one person only because they're like paranoid.
Correct.
You don't want to have too many cooks in the kitchen. You want one person that this is my guy for fucking 30 years. I'm sorry for my language there, but this is weird to me, man. This is getting like 22. That's why like people wanted to trade him for Dolphin. I never wanted this guy because I'm like, we're not gonna have him for 2 years. And if just one of these things ends up being for real, this guy's gone. So I'm just saying, we're playing with fire if you're a Browns fan.
Now, to that point, 22 allegations, right? There's 22 that people came forward.
Yes.
And out of the 22, not a single one resulted in a criminal charge. Like, again, that's also sketchy to me as well.
Again, remember.
Like, come on. If you throw enough crap at the wall, something's got to stick. Like, that's what I felt would happen.
That's why I say the OJ situation, right? If the glove doesn't fit, you must have quit. He lost. He won his freedom there.
Right.
But he lost the civil suit.
Right. Civil case.
Again, that's where I'm at. As a police investigation, it's he said, she said.
Right.
Okay? There is no tangible proof.
Evidence.
As Grizz said,
no video.
Did not rise to the level of criminal intent.
As Grizz said, there's no video camera. There's no little that could show that. So that's where we're at there. Again, and as you said and alluded to a couple of minutes ago, when you talk about the conduct policy, the shield, all these other things, that has to be taken into account for the suspension and what we need to get done.
It's a frustrating situation to look at because, yes, are there, of the 22, are there some legitimate situations? There probably. But it's also the piling on of like, okay, which ones are actually BS here that are just looking for a payday?
Correct.
I'm
not saying all 22, but there's 22.
And again,
that's tremendo ring of people that got together and said, let's make some money.
But of the
10 out of 22, that's pretty bad. I'm sorry. If 10 out of the 22 are legit, brother, that's bad.
No, I hear you.
No, I'm just saying it's bad. You just say one and it's wow. Man, why would
no-win situation for the league?
And I'll be honest with you, it sucks because he's always been such a clean guy.
That's the thing.
There's such a stark, like I guess, dichotomy of like what people thought of who he was and like that Michael Jordan, like impenetrable character.
In Clemson, he never had an issue.
They only
He's
had
a great
the
leader.
Michael Jordan comment was, I think, on the way he focused on the game and all that. No, I'm saying
Deshaun
being compared.
Yeah, right.
Was because of his worth and he could be a champion like that.
Yes.
But I'm saying even a guy like Michael Jordan has his demons, for the gambling. Remember, there's always
the speculation, right?
Something happened to his father
need to take
because
a couple years off.
Yeah. So everything is
David
speculation.
Stern.
I get that. But once again, he put himself in a situation where 22 women have done this. And that's the thing. He won already. He has his money guaranteed, right? Even if he went to jail, that money's not going anywhere. Come out of jail and have that money.
I would have loved to.
Well,
maybe there's a way to get it back. But having said that, the guy look at what he's made.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for those contract negotiations. Like, hey man, you're gonna need to stack some money on here because we got a hefty civil, settlement that's gonna be happening here. So can you put an extra $75 to $100 million there because that's gonna be paid out.
But look at the team that got him. A team that since they came back into the NFL have had over 25 quarterbacks. I mean, they're just desperate for anything.
Well, and then that's the funny thing too. That wasn't his first choice, but they kept stacking and stacking and stacking money to where he just couldn't say no.
But the leadership of the Browns has shown no type of clue in anything that they're doing.
That's why I think it'll fail at the end of the day, because how are you going to have this guy, your leader of a franchise, who's the quarterback these days? He has to go do a charity event, or go talk to a school with the kids, and all the mothers of those kids are looking at this guy that's been maybe allegedly,
here's an interesting question,
messing around with women. I mean, it looks
such a bad look.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting question: how does he come back from this, rise above it, atone for this?
He just has to never do something like this ever again. Keep himself squeaky clean, and hopefully none of these women end up coming out and saying something worse.
Because he's neither the first nor the last that had some... No,
but he is the first to come out with 22 masseuses.
You mentioned off-air a Netflix.
Wow.
So, can you imagine this as a Netflix?
And honestly...
think about it.
And there's going to be a story one day about this.
In the current climate, I see it.
On Prime Video, it's going to be out there.
Somebody's going to have the code Johns to be like, let's get these 22 girls, interview them.
Let's get these 7. Let's get these 12.
Interview them and reenact the whole situation.
Unless they sign one of those non-disclosure pacts, and it can't end.
Well, the NDAs are for sure part of the settlement.
It's not going to end pretty. It's just, it can't
the NDAs
end pretty.
are part of the situation.
That question you just asked, the answer is it cannot end pretty. And to Grizz's point, time to try to get as far away from it as possible, not to have any other blurbs on his career, on his reputation.
Yeah, it's got to be pristine. The rest of the way.
There's a chance to come back. I mean, I think Michael Vick is a perfect example. Came back, went to jail, did his time. Despicable things. I'm a dog lover, and he, but that was what he grew up with. Whatever. But he's done. What did he do when he got out?
And you know what?
He did everything that he had to do to help out.
And I have to say this as much as I love dogs and things like that, I don't know really how involved Mike Vick was in it.
Well, great point. That's what I was going to bring up.
It was an uncle that had the house.
He took the fall for...
Hey, how much you want? Hey, here's the money. And again...
He took the fall for people.
He doesn't have to be there handling the dog, but I'm sure he knew about it. I'm sure, because that's the type of stuff he grew up with.
Right, but like I said, I don't know if he was a hands-on guy.
But even that, to him,
and again,
he grew up thinking that's just normal stuff.
It's normal.
That's a touchy subject, but I'm saying that's something that's huge.
Correct.
People were going nuts. Remember, people probably think that's worse than what this guy probably did to the women.
Some people do.
Some people think like that. Some people do. What I'm saying is, you want a playbook on how to come back? Dude, the guy's been a model citizen since he came back.
Right. No, yes, definitely.
He played in the league.
Definitely.
He won, which helps. By the way, guess what? If he gets suspended for whatever time, but he comes back and he wins, and they win a Super Bowl, Cleveland don't care. They will love that guy for the rest of life.
Oh, there's a statue being built.
Yeah. Hey, we got masseuses all over the place here in Cleveland for you. Do what you must.
And hopefully he stays clean. Otherwise, the statue gets taken down.
Yeah, but he has to be squeaky clean for the rest of his life too. That's the only way, man. If he does that, listen, we love a comeback story. This is America.
So speaking of comeback story, segue. Potential tweets from a pristine quarterback, right? A model citizen of the NFL, a torchbearer, a holder of the shield, Drew Brees, tweeted earlier this week, despite speculation from media about my future this fall, I'm currently undecided. I may work for NBC. I may play football again. I may focus on business and philanthropy. I may train for the pickleball tour, senior golf tour, coach my kids, or do all the above. I'll let you know. Thoughts?
He can't throw past 40 yards. Maybe 30. He's done. He's done.
Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl doing that.
No, he's done. He's done playing. He's done playing. Peyton Manning had neck issues. It wasn't shoulder issues.
When they won the Super Bowl, Peyton Manning could not throw that ball past 30 yards.
It was It was neck issues.
By the end of the season, he was still good throughout the season. It had started at the end of the season, and that defense was just
That defense was lights out.
Remember,
but those
he
were some
had-
dead ducks against
he
the
had-
Fine,
Texans.
but guess
fused.
what? Did he not
They
retire?
scored.
Did he not retire? Though?
He had
He knew when to leave.
fused, okay, in his neck, and it's different than the throwing shoulder. His shoulder's been shot for 3 years. I think that
He just had surgery on it, actually.
again, I think that he needs to go ahead and hang it up. Did a great job, and find someone else. He's not gonna command Tom Brady money.
Nope.
He's not. Okay,
He's not going, and he's not going to go back to the Saints.
Tom Brady is doing such a great job with social media now, Twitter, all these little things.
Oh, that guy's angling for sure.
That he's just put himself. People see Tom Brady in a different light now. Before you used to see Tom Brady as such a like, he's cold.
Yeah, but once
he doesn't
left,
talk.
once he left the Patriots, that already started because he left.
But that's what I'm saying. He's playing
that
a
culture
great.
of the Patriots was not about that. Tampa was way more free, so he embraced it.
Right.
It
And
empowered
again,
him.
he's able to have the charisma,
Of course.
to do that. So he's been able to. Drew Brees has never had that, and he can't start doing it now to try to command that kind of money.
Right.
Now, can he command a few $1 million a year to be in a booth? Of course he can, no doubt. But he's trying to parlay this to make more money. At the end of the day, it's about the money.
Of course.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Ain't nobody
going back.
getting the $375 million deal that's waiting
No.
for Tom Brady when he
No.
retires.
The GOAT gets all the privileges of being the GOAT.
And who knows? And let's not jump the gun here, right? Like obviously Tom Brady, the GOAT, 7 Super Bowls, whatever the case may be, like he's legit. He may suck in the booth. We don't know. There's a lot of GOATs out there of, all-time greats that have made that transition and were absolutely terrible.
But if you take a look at it, most of the quarterbacks that have made that move into the booth, they've all been pretty good. Starting with Dandy Don Meredith.
Oh,
Back in the day.
Don Meredith is
Okay, so and he
Troy Aikman's great,
went
I
in
think.
there. Troy does a great job. Dan Fouts for
Fouts was
many,
good.
One of the best.
many years.
One of the best.
Was a stalwart 4 o'clock
Fouts was
game.
good.
Fantastic. So again, most quarterbacks that make the transition are pretty good. These guys now are taking it to a different level of giving you the insight of the safety should be here. They're playing cover 3. This is what we mean by cover 3, et cetera, et cetera.
Tony Romo kind of blew it out the water there.
Tony Romo's fantastic, but I think he's going to be good. I have no problem because Tom Brady's been sneaky good on commercials and stuff for years. I mean, all the way back. One of my favorite ones is the commercial with Berman about the buffet years ago.
Yes.
Little funny jabs.
Correct.
He's good. He just, once again, I think he was not allowed to bring that out because that was the Patriot culture.
Right.
There's certain cultures that you don't. Once he got out of there, he expressed himself.
Listen, look
I
at
think he's
the
gonna be fine.
Mannings. Look at the Manning cast.
That's hilarious.
People
by the way.
love that stuff.
Yeah.
And again, you got
and
two quarterbacks that.
And let me tell you, the dry humor that Brady will bring and the knowledge. He's going to be able to bring all that.
That's
Romo
another.
No,
and I haven't even
Manning
thought about
knowledge.
that. That's not even another side note to that. They could do something like that with Tom Brady. That is not the usual
Something out of the norm.
platform.
Side
Exactly.
note, how dope would it be to have Manning and Brady just, be in a box or be in a booth or do that Manning Brady cast, a mega cast or
Well,
whatever.
I'm sure he's going to be coming on next year again to do little interviews while they would do that every week with a bunch of guys every quarter. I don't know. It would be a first to have two players like that. I mean, I know you've had Dan Dierdorf and
Yes.
Gifford
Yes.
when they were on Monday night. And I'm saying two Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Stalwarts.
Yeah,
Number
and competitors.
number one and
And
two
competitors.
And
potential.
once again, I don't think that would work because they would want the limelight of being the
The
guy.
GOAT and the sheriff.
Yeah, and competitors because they competed against each other for many, many years.
So that's why they'll still compete, one on
Right.
Fox, one on ESPN, because Manning's still going to be doing that. While in the shift, like we were talking about a couple weeks ago, the broadcast shift is crazy. You have Buck and Aikman now, your Monday night crew. So the Monday Night Football finally has a crew.
Back. It's finally
since
back.
John Madden-
Now, the only thing I don't want to do, and I'm praying to God,
No
Oh,
book?
coach, you know what's gonna happen, coach.
No,
Coach, you know what's gonna happen.
booger.
Coach,
no
you know what's
booger
gonna
in the
happen,
cart
coach.
in the side. I don't want to see that.
The
I don't
booger
wanna hear
mobile.
him.
We're not
The
gonna,
booger
I don't think we're
mobile.
gonna have a booger mobile. We're fine with that.
It
Poor
was driving me
booger.
crazy in the draft. I wanted to.
Poor booger.
I just find one of my
But-
favorite things when he was in the Booger Mobile or with the Sunday Night Football, was it, and then Monday Night Football. We were just, well, that was wrong, right? We're just texting each other.
Everything. It just I can't handle him.
But I think that's
So-
going to be
Yes,
finally for the
yes.
first time in 20 plus years.
Yes.
Monday night's going to be awesome to watch because
It's
of
gonna be an
announcers.
event.
The announcing team, you got Michaels going to Amazon Prime Thursday with Herb Street, which to me, Herb Street, I thought should have been the Monday night guy. He's the up and coming guy in some ways. In some other network, I love him. So back to Drew Brees. The thing with Brees is he was okay. I don't think his mannerisms calling the game were exciting to me. I don't know what it was that I could. He's knowledgeable, but I just think Drew Brees doesn't have that kind of like slickness.
A good word is bland, if you will.
But
Very
again, and those are things that you work on.
Yeah.
Those are things that you polish up
Right.
as you're going forward.
Right.
What were my weaknesses? What are my
Of
strengths?
course.
And you work off of that to get better, just like you do as a player. You have to
But I
dedicate
think he
time
everything,
He
right.
might
to
not
do that.
maybe end up wanting to do that, I think. I'm not sure, maybe. But if he doesn't come back to NBC, like I said, it's all the good spots are taken already. And what would be left is to him call Notre Dame games, which I said was strange in itself. And eventually that'll sometime.
I mean, you also have to remember that there are various broadcast teams
Right.
according to the team area.
Right.
The region.
No, he might be
The region, right.
He
But
could
do
be a
you see-
regional.
I just don't know because, like I said, they gave him. He could stay like on NBC or another show, maybe be the pregame guy. He could do like
Correct. A
like
pregame show
Marino
would be
back in the
good.
day, or like Boomer. He could do that type. I think
Yes.
more than I think broadcasting a 3-hour game. I would rather see him in that role because he did that a couple times for NBC.
Yes. And it
while
was- right.
Al Michaels
Correct.
and Collinsworth
Correct.
were. So I think that would be it. Or once again, the guy wants to do business, realty, whatever the guy's doing. The guy has options. The bottom line is the guy has options.
I'm with Coach, though. I think that this was his way of trying to parlay the situation into more money.
Yeah.
And
him coming back for football, I think, is more that Brady's coming back, and that kind of gave him like a little itch, and he's like, maybe I can. Anybody want? Brees?
to defend him a little bit, the guy has been part of just some all-time heartbreaking,
Right.
just like
And if he
bad
would've-
beats, like just in the truest sense.
But
bad
you know what?
beats.
Had he not won that Super Bowl against Manning, we'd consider him a choker.
He'd
We
be-
consider
He would be
him-
another Dan Marino. He'd be in the
we
same
consider
boat as
him-
Dan Marino. You can't win
But
the
none of
big
them
one.
have been his
Yeah.
fault.
No, you can't win the big one.
None
It's
of them
not-
have been his
it's not-
fault.
It's not
Time
the
out.
Marino
None
But that
of
choker.
doesn't matter.
He
It's not
was
the
on-
Marino-
He was
Listen.
on the sideline for all three of those
It wasn't Marino's
situations.
fault. He
That he
didn't
didn't-
have a running game or a defense.
defense. I mean,
he
again,
did everything he could, but guess
and
what?
that's my
People
thing, like,
say, he
I
wasn't
don't-
that good. 'cause
Just
he
like,
didn't win.
look, like again, and we mentioned him a few minutes ago.
victim of circumstance.
Jim Kelly to me was not a choker either. To me, Jim Kelly was a great quarterback. Got to the Super Bowl 4 times. Just they could not get it together. They
This
just
is why.
couldn't get
This
it
is
together.
why. At the end of the day,
Go
the
Giants.
players that play against these people and the coaches, when they're the ones that talk about, no, this guy's a top 10, doesn't matter. That's who you listen to find out who's great or not. I'm just saying, had he not had the onside kick and Peyton Manning throw a terrible interception, we would look at Drew
Yeah.
Brees as a failure.
Well, yeah, because when you look at the, again, as much as I love Drew Brees, but you look at the flip side of it, he was never an MVP, was never regarded as a top quarterback in the league. Maybe the
Too
third
small.
or third or
Right.
fourth guy.
And he was good. I mean,
Too
again,
small.
he's
Pro
a
Bowl
top,
guy, right?
top 5 guy, excellent quarterback, guy that could take you there, guy that could win it, et cetera, et cetera.
Because Rodgers has only one, and if Rodgers didn't have, he would also be considered a failure. But they both have one, but who gets more of the accolades?
Yeah, they're in
The
like,
MVP
they're in the
winner,
Brett
the guy
Favre,
that
they're
was-
in the Brett Favre tier.
The greatness that is, the arm and all that. He never had those attributes. But Drew Brees has always been a winner. Trust me, there was 2 times I wanted Drew Brees on my team that could have changed my fandom.
My fantasy.
Oh my God, my life would
Instead,
be
you got
so much better.
Instead, you got Dante Culpepper.
Moving right along.
And we go from there.
All right, we're gonna close out this segment right here. We'll be back to close out the show in just a second. and we're back to close this thing out with some much weird UFC talk, as is customary here at Two Coaches, One Grizz. Coachy, take it away.
Well, I mean, we have fight night this week, and I just want to touch up on a couple of fights in the prelims. We have Morales versus Medic.
Who?
Morales, Omar Morales. He is
no relation, I swear.
He's 11-2. He's an excellent fighter. He's a striker, and he's going to fight Uros Medic, which is another excellent fighter. He's more of a grappler. It's going to be interesting to see who wins this fight. These are both guys that are on my radar. I think they're excellent fighters in the lightweight division. If you have time to watch them during the prelims, catch this fight. It's going to be a real good fight. I don't know who's going to win. One's a striker. It's a clash of styles. It's a fighter versus a grappler. If Medic gets him on the ground, it's over. If Medic is able to get him down, Uros, I think, will win the fight. It's going to be one of the better fights in the last couple of weeks. In the main card, we have Ponzinibbio, who is Santiago Ponzinibbio, who is Brazilian. He's 29-5. Again, another guy that's a pretty solid fighter. His losses are to good top ranked guys. He's fighting. I believe it's Michael Pereira.
Yes.
He's another top ranked guy. He's excellent. They're very similar. Again, this is going to be a really good fight. Pereira is a short favorite.
Both of these guys are kind of long in the tooth in terms of fights. Like
yes.
They got a lot of fights on
a lot of mileage as far as fights, and they're both very, very good. So that's going to be it's going to be the co-main event. It's going to be a great fight, and the main event is Holly Holmes against Caitlin Vieira. I'm not really big on Holmes. She doesn't have much of a reach advantage. This could be one of those where you could take the underdog, sprinkle a little something on the underdog, because she could surprise. I'm just not a big Holly Holmes fan. She sticks to her punches a lot, and I think Vieira is going to come in and put on a show.
Yeah, I think Vieira.
She's a good wrestler.
Handles this.
Solid wrestler. She's, again, a couple losses to top-notch fighters. Holly Holmes is one of the better ones, but again, she's a striker. It's going to be a clash of styles, a clash of different styles.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, man. Yeah, listen, I don't bet anything against that.
And again, Holly only has a 1-inch reach advantage. The heights are about the same, so it's not a big disparity where you could say, well, Holly's going to be able to stay away, and this girl can't get to her.
I just think Holly gets into this situation where she wants to throw haymakers and she opens herself up and gets lit up.
It's a 5-round fight. So again, Holly has made some strides. She's gotten better. She's won a few fights over the last few weeks, the last few months, or what have you. She's on a 2-fight win streak. But again, I do think that she's going to end up fighting someone that's evenly matched with her. She's a good fighter. She wrestles. She's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So I think that gives Vieira a good chance to pull off an upset.
Listen, I'm going to take the individual who has a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu and judo.
It's a 2-to-1 situation. So again, you throw $25. Try to double your money. It's not a bad deal. It's not a bad deal at all.
Are you trying to get me to finally throw something?
No, that's up to you, sir. You've got a lot of things going on and a lot of mouths to feed. I would never tell you to risk more than you absolutely have to.
Going there now, huh?
I'm just spitting facts, sir. Spitting facts. Well, yes, it's just through someone else.
Any days. Listen, I'm just a bystander.
Exactly.
I'm support crew.
That's who you are.
What do you need, babe?
That's
you
it.
good?
That's it.
Okay, you're all right.
And keep on rolling.
Here it is.
And keep on rolling.
Gentlemen, I think that closes it up for us this week.
One more thing, if I may add.
You have the floor.
Would like to give a little shout out to our Florida Panthers, finally winning a series for the first time since 1996, when we made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. We have not won a playoff series since. And we opened up last night as we did the series before with a loss. In the first game against Tampa Bay, our thorn, our nemesis.
And the only thing I don't like about this loss is we were up early,
Correct.
dominating, and we folded in the third.
Correct.
That's the one thing that bothers me.
However, we got them where we want them. Because no team comes back like these Florida Panthers. When they're down,
Yes.
they're down.
They're
And they
tough.
came back the last 3 games against Washington, especially game 4 when they were down 2-1. They tied it up with a couple minutes. They won it in overtime. Down 3-0 at home.
Yes.
Game 5.
Yes,
5-3 win.
they're the Fighting Panthers.
So
definitely.
they will give it their all. It's just this Tampa Bay team is the 2-time defending champion. And once again, like I said, a thorn, our state rivals. These teams don't like each other. I just want to shout out them. Because, hopefully we'll be talking some more Panthers at the end. Hockey's not the biggest thing right now.
They're not Golden Panthers. They're Florida Panthers.
Yeah, but these Panthers win.
There you go.
So, those were my 2 cents.
Well, thank you for your 2 cents. It's more like 25 cents.
One
but-
more thing, I'd like to make sure we shout out our sponsor.
Yes, sir. General
Gen-
Carnitas. Fresh meat, all natural, no antibiotics. Farm fresh. From Spain, from New Zealand, from Canada, all over the world.
Grass fed.
Grass fed, baby. Come get you some.
Even massaged to its utmost.
Yes, sir.
Without having to apologize for
and
it.
it's not a mistake.
They get the Deshaun Watson treatment
Ooh,
all the way.
that's a spicy meatball.
Come
General
get us.
Carnitas Gourmet
.com.
Meats. Okay, .com. We will be starting our Memorial Day weekend sale.
Special.
The code going out here very soon. So go get you some meats, baby.
Get your orders in and spark up those grills.
I'll spark up something else later.
2 coaches, 1 Grizz. Out.
Bit of